If you didn't want your photos stolen, you shouldn't have taken them. What was she thinking going out dressed like that? She could have left, but she didn't. It's her own fault she has a black eye now. I mean, let's be honest, she was kind of asking for it getting that drunk. Whoa! Hold up just a hot minute. What are you even saying right now? Babes, there are a few things that hurt my soul so much as a little thing called victim blaming. I'm gonna be talking about sex crimes in this video, but victim blaming has all kinds of applications. The mentality is that by engaging in certain behaviors, they ask for it to happen. Common blameworthy offenses include going out at night, taking nude photos, wearing tight clothing, short skirts, being promiscuous, getting drunk. Notice anything about that list? Yeah, all those things that people claim are asking for it are actually rights and freedoms that every human being is entitled to. And when I say human, I do include women in that group. This is how bizarre victim blaming sounds to me. Your identity was stolen? Why were you using a credit card? If you had used cash, this never would have happened. They punched you in the face? Where was your protective helmet? You were mugged? What were you wearing? A suit? Everyone's trying to make money. You don't have to flaunt the fact that you have some. It's basically asking them to steal from you. Okay, enough bad acting. Do you get my drift? The problem with blaming the victim is that it's the predator that caused the crime, not the victim or their clothing or their pictures. Fun fact, actually it's not that fun. Crimes happen when perpetrators choose to violate someone. Rape, sexual assault, theft, harassment, non-consensual distribution of sexual photos. Those are all decisions that someone made to violate another person. There are 5 big problems with blaming the victims of sex crimes. First and foremost, and what I feel should be the most obvious, is that it protects sexual predators. Why do we do that so much? Sometimes I hear people say things like, men rape people. That's the way it is. And then I start backing away very slowly. That's also super degrading. Most men are good people, and those that aren't choose not to be. When we say absurd things like men can't control themselves, it enables those who are choosing to commit crimes. They know they'll be dismissed, coddled, protected. They won't be held accountable. That's got to change. Number 2, this is how instead of preventing crime, victim blaming actually invites more crime. Number 3, victim blaming makes it hard for justice to be served. Those real life attitudes are in Congress, they're in police forces, they're splattered across the media. They're bearing down on the brave survivor who's decided to seek justice when the cross-examiner asks her how short her skirt was. Number 4. In the context of sex crimes, victim blaming often fuels misogyny. Sometimes I hear people talk about how she needs to face the consequences for her actions. In this bizarre mindset, violation is framed as a deserved punishment, usually for a woman who's stepped out of line. In this way, victim blaming creates this never-ending list of rules that women are supposed to abide by in order to have their humanity respected. I mean, shit, we're taught from the time that we're little girls to fear men's attacks if we do something wrong. Like, how sick is that? And why are we so quick to defend men's freedom, including the freedom to commit crimes, while handing women a long list of restrictions on our everyday lives? Lastly, number 5, when we live in this culture that's hell-bent on blaming the victim, it should come as no surprise that the victims blame themselves too. There's a whole series of mental gymnastics that rape survivors go through. What did I do wrong? How could I have prevented this from happening to me? Reality is, they did nothing wrong. The predator was wrong. Men and children are raped as well. Were they really asking for it by dressing slutty? I don't think so. This re-victimizes them, and it creates a stigma that makes it so hard to pursue justice because they don't think they deserve it. And they know the world doesn't think they deserve justice either. I just wanted to say to all my babes out there, if you were assaulted, it was absolutely not your fault. If you were raped, it was not your fault. There was nothing that you did to invite that. If you had photos stolen, photos of you distributed, it wasn't your fault. You have a right to be sexual with your partner in ways that you consent to and no more than that. If you were harassed by someone, it's not your fault. If you were abused by someone, it's not your fault. You have a right to safety and respect no matter what. Every time I see someone blame the victim, it just eats me up inside. You deserve so much better. Thanks for watching, babes. I'll see you next time.
Survivor letter. It has taken me such a long time to write this story, mostly because I wanted the little girl who felt that her brokenness could never be loved know that one day she would be happy It took years of guarding my soft pit of a heart from injury before I could feel the entirety of my sorrow and eventually my wholeness. I also felt that my edges had somehow disappeared and parts of myself were somewhere out in the world waiting to be retrieved. I could tell my story now because the bodies of water, those streams and rivers of stretching, have stretched out across the world, pulling in my corners. I am returning to myself. I am still my brokenness. I am still my night terrors and depression. I am still my silent, wordless rage. But now I know this story ends in gratitude.
This bitch is a hoe. We about to go to court and have fun with this shit. Do you know this is all entertainment? Oh my God, this is footage for me. This bitch is the whore of Babylon. We literally got her on camera saying she prostituted for goddamn. We literally got you on camera.
Pull it up. Pull it up right now.
And what does that
Bro,
mean?
what is you talking about? The T got you right here saying. She literally, look.
Oh my God, that high pitched
You
voice.
lying to the police. It's not, she's lying, bro.
Fuck her without a condom. She came back to me in Hawaii. She told me the nigga that he wouldn't fuck her without a condom and that his dick was littler than mine and that she missed me because my dick was big and she was like, this nigga dick is little as fuck, and now she's still fucking with that nigga because his dick is littler than mine. And when she came back to me, her pussy was super tight. I'ma tell everything. Bitch, you got life fucked up. I'ma tell everything. Now, I'ma tell everything. I've been kept my mouth quiet for everything, but I'm gonna tell everything about this bitch Velvet. I'm gonna tell everything because I'm hurt because of my daughter, bitch. I'm hurting. And you doing my daughter dirty and you won't let me talk to my daughter. I miss my daughter. I miss my daughter. I miss Eliana. I miss my daughter, my nigga, and I'm gonna fucking tell everything. You gonna sit here and fucking lie with me? You gonna fucking lie with me and my fucking daughter sitting right there? My motherfucking daughter sitting right there, my nigga. I'm hurting. Yeah, I'm gonna tell everything. I'm gonna tell everything. My motherfucking daughter is yelling at you, trying to tell you, get the fuck out of here, stop yelling on my daddy. And you motherfucker gonna sit there with my daughter in the car and disrespect me? Can't believe this bitch. Can't believe her, yo. Fucking believe this bitch. Disrespect me like that, yo. In front of my daughter, I'll fucking eat you. Disrespect me in front of my daughter, bitch. My daughter's screaming, and I miss my fucking daughter so fucking much, and I'm trying to be strong right now, yo. I'm trying to be strong, but I miss my daughter. I miss my baby. Motherfucker. Fuck all y'all. Fuck all y'all, man. I miss my daughter, my nigga. She the only one look just like me. I miss my daughter, my nigga. And don't you ever get online talking about me in front of my daughter, nigga. It's war now. I'ma tell everything I fucking know. And and let me tell you something. I never talk about nobody's business, no matter what they say about me. That's my law. But I'ma tell everything I fucking know about you, you fucking whore. I fucking hate you. I hate you, my nigga. I hate everything you stand for. I hate everything you about, bitch. I can't stand you, bitch. You know how much I love my daughter. You know how much I love my daughter. You using my daughter against me. My daughter was in the background screaming for me and I miss her. I miss my fucking daughter, my nigga. I miss my daughter, my nigga. I'm not gonna sit here in front with you. I'm hurting. I'm hurting. Hurting. I fucking miss my daughter, my nigga. I can't even talk to her. I can't even talk to my fucking daughter. Fuck all y'all. I don't give a fuck what y'all think about me, nigga. Fuck y'all, nigga. Fuck you. I can't believe this bitch online talking shit about me. After I've been here for her, I came to her in Florida when that nigga burned her. I came there for her. I was there for her. Y'all was there with me, wasn't I? I pushed Malia to the side. I threw all y'all away for her, just for my daughter, my nigga. And this bitch would come back. I dare you come back, disrespect me in front of my daughter like that, bitch. You got God's wrath after you. You got God's wrath after you, my nigga. You got God's wrath after you, my nigga. I swear to God, it's war now. And you go to the police because you was sucking my dick, bitch. My dick healed you. Bitch, you came in with an STD. I healed you, bitch. I miss my daughter and you took my fucking... You know how much I love Eliana, yo. You know how much I love my fucking daughter, bitch. Fuck you. I can't stand you, my nigga. I wish I could kill you. I swear to God, I wish I could kill you.
Feel like an addiction. And as always, if you haven't already, please hit that bell, subscribe, because not only will you get this great video, see all of our old videos, but you'll get notified when we post new content, and then you can see it just on a regular basis. You'll be a narcissism expert in no time. But let's focus on this particular topic because it's such an important one, and it's one I hear over and over again from people I work with, which is this idea of people feeling like they have an addiction when they're in a relationship with a narcissist. Now, some of you and all of us have used the term of I'm addicted to this form of love or love addiction. I'm not even going to touch sex addiction on this one. I'm also going to take a step back for some of you who are purists and say, how dare you use the word addiction when you're not talking about chemical changes in the brain. With all due respect, I agree. Addiction typically doesn't even just reflect kind of our diagnostic criteria for addiction and for dysregulated use. I'm not even going to get into the scientific thickets on this one. I agree. The way we use the term addiction, it usually does reflect a change in the brain, and it typically does reflect substances like drugs and alcohol. But let's look at that term addiction. Okay? Because it means something very specific. When we talk about addiction per se, we're talking about certain patterns. When a person is addicted to something, they feel like they can't control themselves with it, that they find themselves using more and more or being with that thing more and more often that they're addicted to. If they can't be with the thing that they're addicted to or use the thing they're addicted to, they literally experience a physiological reaction. The person who's addicted frequently experiences craving. And the craving is so overwhelming that it's all the person can think about. And they almost become fixated on when they're going to get their next hit, so to speak. An addiction is something that takes over a person's life to the negligence of their job, school, other people in their life, and people they have to take care of. So let's take that framework of addiction and apply it to your relationship with a narcissist. So let's talk about that idea that you start becoming, it starts taking over your life more and more and more, that you start spending more time with it, that you start spending more focus on it. Many, many people will say that a relationship with a narcissist has that feel to it, but it's in a very subtle way. Now, all of you have had some form of relationship with a narcissist, and particularly when it comes to romantic or intimate relationships with narcissists, it often starts with a lot of intensity. For example, the equivalent of getting high. You're spending time with this person, it's exciting, it's compelling, it's intriguing, but you do a lot of it. You think you've got it under control. I got this is fun, I've got this all figured out. Here's where the narcissist plays an interesting game. As we know, somewhere from 6 to 10 weeks into the love bombing phase, they finally realize they have you trapped and they start pulling back for a series of complicated reasons. Those complicated reasons notwithstanding, they start pulling back. They've got you now, right? Not as interested, maybe not as responsive, maybe even start being a little mean, invalidating, insulting. You are now confused, but I used to get high from this. Now you're chasing that high. You want back in. So you keep trying to figure out ways to spend time with this person, convince this person, win this person over. And anyone who's been in a relationship with a narcissist knows it starts taking over everything you think about it. You think about it at work. You think about it while you're driving your car. You think about it while you're talking to friends. It's always, always, always on your mind, like an addiction. Now, the other thing we know is that a lot of people talk about this. No matter how dysfunctional these relationships are, when the narcissist starts pulling back, and they always start pulling back in some way. And the pulling back may not be literally. They may still very much be around, but they're not giving you the same attention. They're distracted. They're on their phone. It's definitely not that love bombing attention. You crave more and more of it. And you almost feel sick from not getting it. That's that physiological sense of what we'd call withdrawal. And people just want it so badly, want time with their narcissist. They want their validation back. They want to go back to the love bombing phase, that they do everything they can to try to win them over. I have worked with clients who have lost weight, who have gotten new boobs, new teeth, new noses, new skin, blonde hair, dark hair, cut their hair, went to the gym, abs, you name it. Make more money, get a new job, rent a bigger apartment than they should, buy the person a car, anything they can to try to get that narcissist back. It becomes all encompassing to the negligence of your job, of the people you care about, of everything around you. This sounds exactly like an addiction. It overtakes a life. People who are in relationships with narcissists will say throughout the relationship, they were always preoccupied by it, many times because they were confused by it. People who are addicted to drugs will say they're always thinking about when they're going to get their next hit, their next high, their next bit of excitement, whatever it is. They can't let go of it. It overtakes a mind, and that's really what an addiction does. And not only overtakes a mind, it overtakes our behavior. This addiction analogy becomes really important because think about a drug or an addict or an alcoholic. Even once they realize that they're using drugs and alcohol to a point that it's causing them harm, they can't necessarily stop. Many people will say, yeah, I know I'm smoking too many cigarettes, I'm drinking too much, I'm using too many drugs. I know I'm getting sick. I can't stop. So this thing is destroying them, and yet they keep doing it. Tell me that's no different than a relationship with a narcissist. You know that this relationship is destroying your soul. You know this relationship is destroying your psyche. You know it's taking over your life, and you know it's taking a toll on your health, and yet you stay in the relationship. Addicts make up stories, don't they? They rationalize it. I got this figured out. I'm not going to overdose. I'm going to be fine. One more hit. I can get through the weekend. A million little stories. I'm not doing that much. My friends use more. When I was younger, I did more. I can handle this. I can handle this. I can handle this. The number of people who've been in narcissistic relationships, I got this figured out. I can do this. Yeah, let me just do it this way. It's addict talk, isn't it? It's addict talk. And that's what people who are in relationships with narcissists do, oftentimes because they're so confused, and many times because they want that original high, and most typically because they feel like they cannot live without the narcissist. Think about a drug addict. They feel like they cannot live without the drugs. But many addicts, especially those who don't want to die, do try to become sober. They want a better life. They want to get back into their lives. They want to be healthy again. And so they try to get sober. I've worked with many men and women who have bravely committed themselves to sobriety. Some for 40 years, some for 40 days, some for 40 hours at the time I'm working with them. But they're committed to it. And any one of them will tell you it's an incredibly difficult journey. 1 day at a time, 1 hour at a time, and it is a daily, hourly commitment. I've worked with people who have been sober 10 years, and they'll say, I'm still craving. I'm still craving. Now let's jump and think about this in a narcissistic relationship. One day you decide, I'm done. I got to get out of this. This is not good for me. So many people get angry at themselves, and we're going to take this on in another video, when they kind of slip, that they get away from the narcissist and then they go back in, and they get away and they go back in. That's really normal. It's just like people who become sober and they relapse. It's normal. It's part of the recovery process. But it feels awful and it feels shameful and it feels so many negative things. But it's normal and it happens because that relationship was so confusing, so topsy-turvy. You never quite understood it. Now keep in mind, in a healthy relationship, the give and take makes sense. It always feels like that it's so natural. You're not saying, well, I did this for you, now you have to do this for me. There's a really natural back and forth in a healthy relationship that's respectful and kind. It's just like a person who eats healthy food. That food sort of gives back to you. It's about the person who maybe only drinks 1 glass of wine a week. It might be relaxing. They don't count on it. But in a narcissistic relationship, it is so confusing and so toxic that a person participates in it in this very dysfunctional way. And many times that dysfunctional narrative, just like with any kind of addict, goes way back into childhood. The old stories people have about themselves, about not being enough or wanting to fill an emptiness in themselves, can often compel them to stay in the confusing game with a narcissist. But then you try to get out, and you may go back in, and you may get back out, and you may go back in, and that cycle may repeat a few times. What about when you're finally out, though? You're finally out of that relationship with the narcissist. You don't go back in. They may every so often throw you a text. Maybe they've completely disappeared. So often I hear from people, I still can't stop thinking about it. It's like a monster, a demon in my mind. I still keep thinking about all the terrible things they did and said. I can't let it go. I ruminate about it. And we do have another video in our narcissism series on rumination, which you may want to take a look at. But they can't stop thinking about it, just like addiction. And that's normal. The interesting thing is when a healthy relationship breaks up, we may miss it and we may have warm thoughts to that person, but we sure as heck don't ruminate about it. But in a narcissistic relationship, all that dysfunction gets hard to let go of. It sticks in our head, a bit like it does for an addict. Because of this addictive kind of framework to a narcissistic relationship, many times people feel like they're never going to feel normal again. These relationships do change us. They make us less trusting, not only of ourselves, but of other people. It makes people a little bit more cynical. Over time, some of that may shift. And it's amazing what self-growth and healthy new relationships and friendships can do. But like an addiction, it's something that leaves an echo that can last for a long time. This addictive quality to the narcissistic relationship is why so many of you feel stuck, confused, find it difficult to recover, and feel that years on, it still haunts you. All of this is normal. And if I was talking to you about a drug addiction, I'd say all of this is normal. Does it mean you're never going to heal? Absolutely not. Every day I see people who not only heal but thrive after a narcissistic relationship improves. So I know it can get better, but understand how difficult it is. I have no doubt that maybe someday someone will do the relationship that shows that maybe toxic relationships have a different effect on the dopaminergic centers of our brain, just like drugs do, than maybe healthy relationships do. For now, what I know is that people in narcissistic relationships find themselves stuck in something bigger than them, much like an addiction, and it feels like it never will get better. It will. Now, while a relationship with a human being probably doesn't have the same effects on our brain as a relationship with drugs or alcohol, the framework is similar, the effects can feel similar, and for many people who feel like, I feel like I'm in an addiction, I must be crazy, you're not. It's actually a very normal way to feel about this, but it's not normal to stay in it for the long term. It is going to take a toll on your health. Thanks so much for tuning in.
I cry myself to sleep at night. I don't cry for him. It's her that I miss. She trusted without question and loved without reservation. She was open and honest and alive. So alive. But not anymore. Her death was not quick and painless. It was agonizingly slow and merciless. She did not just die, she was murdered, slowly poisoned by the same man she loved, poisoned by his words and his silence, poisoned by his anger and his rage, poisoned by his cruelty and abuse. She died so slowly that she didn't even realize she was dying, withering away until she was no longer herself, killed by an evil she couldn't see or comprehend, and I am all that is left, a shell, empty and haunted. I wear her clothes, I speak with her voice, and I smile with her smile. I do this so no one will know she's gone, but I know, and I miss her every day, the woman that I used to be.